Buffalo Games brings the title Pac-Man, the board game, to your table. Rediscover the arcade classic all over again. Master the maze, beat the ghosts, get your initials by the high score. Stay alert, move quick, and be smart. Gulp down power pellets and eat the ghost for extra points in this collaborative and competitive game. After everyone plays as Pac-Man, the player with the highest score wins. The game comes with a scoring pad so that you can keep track of the highest score. One player plays as Pac-Man, gobble up as many Pac dots as you can while avoiding the ghosts. Score points by finishing parts of the maze, eating fruit, and eating ghosts. Other players play as the ghosts, Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde, who try to catch Pac-Man while avoiding being eaten themselves. Stop Pac-Man from getting a high score. Buffalo Games, I think, kind of delivered it there. That sounds like was it just the way I read it? It's from that description. It sounded pretty exciting to me, but then again, I was literally first-gen arcade youth right here, who's now aged into this 50-plus-year-old man. But no, I was there, and I loved Pac-Man. I wasted so much money, quarter by quarter, putting the quarters in, waiting my turn, putting the quarters on top where the screen is, that represent my turn next. So maybe that's why I'm a little excited about this. Plus, looking into this game, most of the people I've read and seen have had at least more positive than negative things to say about it, and a few have actually fawned over a little bit. So that kind of gets me a little more excited about this. So right there, I mean, this nostalgia factor is just bleeding off of this game. Now, I've said this before. I've done monologues on this for Mondays, but I love 3D elements on a board game, or an entire board that's 3D. I love things that'll pop up out of the board. It really grabs your attention, and it did that with this. Looking at this, watching videos on this, looking at the photos of this, seeing how the Pac-Man figure and the Ghost figures sit on the board 3D style. Well, they are 3D. It just really blew my mind on this, and I was like, wow! It made it feel more like the arcade, which is funny because in the arcade I'm looking at a flat two-dimensional screen. But it made me feel more like I was it was like 1980 something, and I was back in Francesca's ice cream parlor wasting money away on Pac-Man. Oh, the components look great. Now, let's face it, this is, as much as a board game can be, it is a direct port of the video game. So the rules are going to be pretty darn easy to get through, I'm imagining, and I haven't heard anything much about the rules other than, hey, it's Pac-Man. So that's what it tells you about how easy these rules are. Now, I was talking about the back and forth between playing as Pac-Man on a turn, and then you take turns as ghosts. That kind of sounds cool to me, and I understand now why they call it a collaborative and a competitive game, because it does that exactly, working both ends. But what also interests me is on the Board Game Geek, one of the threads, I saw someone was talking about developing a more truer one versus one or one versus many version of the game, or solo version of it, where one player is Pac-Man for the length of the game, just like the video game. They have 3 lives unless they get a certain score, and then when they die, you switch it out and you switch players from Pac-Man to Ghost. That sounds even better to me, because that sounds exactly what the arcade was. And when and if I ever get my hands on this game, I am most definitely going to be trying out a variant of that rule, and I'll probably be doing that variant live for everyone. See, and this game just begs to be showcased. Another reason why it's on this Christmas wish list. I think that it belongs in front of cameras. I think this is the kind of game that needs to be showed off. Partly because it has the 3D elements, but also partly because of the nostalgia. And I think working it together, it'd just be great to see here, wouldn't it? Let's make that a thing. Now, something I don't know if I'm pro or con, but I'll bring it forward anyway because you deserve to know, is it seems about almost 50-50 for the individuals that I've read that have mentioned this. They either love the fact that the Pac-Man figure makes the classic video game waka 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 sound, and other people it drives them nuts. Apparently there's no way to turn that off. I've read that some people have used an alternate Pac-Man figure that they've bought outside, somewhere else, something else of appropriate size. Hey, whatever. But at least initially, I know that sounds completely awesome to hear that while we're playing the game. Now, one last thing about this 3D board, I got to tell you, is so the pellets, the dots that you're eating are part of the board. It's not like you have to set that up every time. That's cool. Apparently this game then has a fast setup time, which is awesome. But the pellets, all you got to do is they just rise up from the board. And Pac-Man, but because of this, you can't slide him across the board unless he's already been through this part of the maze and eaten the pellets. But if he hasn't eaten the pellets, you got to mash them down. That's what you do. You mash them down. That represents that he's eaten it, and that's how you get your points. So that's, now you see what I mean about sliding after you've been over there. But that's another thing that just really caught my attention. It has nothing to do with whether the game itself is cool or not. But then again, this is about Pac-Man, so the game is only Pac-Man. It's Pac-Man. So if you like that, or you want to try it out because you don't know what Pac-Man is for some reason, or maybe you've just never played it, this board game is a great way to do that. So please, check out Buffalo Games' Pac-Man, the board game.